What's up, man? Is it recording now? Oh, weird. Okay, well, whatever. I'm One Sir Grove, OSGOE. Let's talk about aliens. Area 51 S4. I saw this documentary last night by the Gaia Project, and it was about a medical practitioner. It is about a medical practitioner. By the way, this is C4CW, casting 495 celebrities worldwide. If you are true fans of this show, then We495 most certainly appreciate you. So, getting right into it, this documentary that I was watching actually early this morning, because today is 15 February 2020, that's 2020. It's approximately 36 degrees Fahrenheit, almost cold enough to snow. Almost cold enough to snow. So, this documentary that I was watching early this morning, after 12 a.m., was and is about a medical practitioner who actually, Kirtland Air Force Base. My bad. Kirtland Air Force Base. And he was indoctrinated into this program whereby, after so many years of military service and practicing medicine, that is the U.S. shadow government, let him in on some secrets. And so from Kirtland Air Force Base, he would access Sandia Labs, which is part of Kirtland, accordingly. And they began to take him deeper and deeper below ground. And he was talking about how there are like 50 plus levels below ground just where he worked alone. And that there are multiple sites. So just where he was, there are at least 50 levels below ground. And what was amazing was how he was talking about how he would ride his bike sometimes to the base, to the site. And he said that at the level where, one of the levels that he worked on, he said, man, you could park like 1,000 cars down there. That's how big that landing was just at that one particular stop. Then he also talks about this escalator that he would be on for like 10 minutes, like a 10-minute long escalator. And he talks about a maglev track system where you could sit down in these seats. And basically, man, we're talking about biological containment unit, subterranean, underground shit, and many levels, and it looks like a spaceport. Because apparently the terrestrial government, that is our U.S. shadow terrestrial government, works with some visitors. We have some joint projects with some visitors. So we built these elaborate, massive, underground, interconnecting cities. And I know that sounds like fantasy and fanciful to a lot of people, but when you see the credentials of these people, and if you know anything about Dr. Greer and the Gaia Project, and if you know anything about body language, I mean, you can tell from their stories, man, and from the information that's corroborated by other sources, other unrelated. We're talking about other sources, unrelated. They corroborate one another. And there's also declassified information. Oh, and here's the kicker. And here is the kicker. Our government has, in some part, it has declassified not only information as of late, but it's also come out and said, hey, listen, people who we used to refer to as conspiracy theorists and tinfoil hats, yeah, you guys are right. The phenomenon is very real, and we've been following. I mean, they unabashedly, with unapologetically, they're just like, yeah, aliens are real, and we've been monitoring the situation a long time. So the cat has been let out the bag, but the way that the base was described was amazing. I mean, just spectacular presentation, and he's very clear about how on the various levels with the different spaces in which folks work, how they plug in to the oxygen with their hoses that they have. And there's also a communications and electrical like energy link for whatever type of communications comm set you have when you're one of the scientists who works down there. And he talks about how they would work with different tissue, like they would work with different types of biological tissue, organic matter, and how they would dissect it and evaluate and assess it, and how increasingly he was given different samples that he knew were cloned, hybrid tissues, cloned hybrid tissues, as well as he would be given bona fide extraterrestrial materials, biological in nature, and samples. And he was also going into detail about how they would monitor his heart to make sure that, he wasn't freaking out and shit. Like, he wasn't overly freaked out. And that's what they do with these scientists, is they monitor their hearts to make sure that they're not being exposed to shit that's like freaking their minds out too much, so much that they're unable to perform their work and duties. And yeah, and then he shows evidence about how they also try to kill him. I mean, listen, man, he started to spill the beans about some of this shit, and they're like, we got to kill you now, man. Or at least send you a message. So they did some crazy shit to him. I don't know that they were actually trying to kill him, but they definitely sent him some messages, man. And there's photographic evidence of these several different occasions when they did some crazy shit to his vehicle and him. And so then he joined up with Dr. Greer at some point. And I don't know, man, at least for the time being, it seems like the shadow government's left him alone. And he might be safe now, maybe.